Live. Mag-ready lang. No.
Good morning, Philippines. Good morning, world. Today is Thursday, 17th of December 2020.
And we are here to inform you the latest updates in the world.
I am Lloyd Pilata,
And I am Angel Paunilio.
bringing you the hottest and the latest news for this hour.
And this is MK Education Live Current Affairs and Updates. And for the international news, police investigating online posts about gatherings in Singapore. Investigations opened after women's symbols put on Polish flag. Warsaw, Poland, prosecutors have opened an investigation into whether the Polish flag was publicly insulted after a family in Warsaw hung a flag from their balcony combined with a lightning bolt, a symbol for women's rights in Poland. It's the latest incident to raise questions about freedom of expression under the conservative government that has been trying to rein in anti-government protesters who have sometimes used national or religious symbols in their iconography. Over the weekend, the police entered the Warsaw home without a warrant and removed the family's flag. It had a lightning bolt, the symbol of the women's strike movement, superimposed on the national white and red flag. Alessandro Seniors, the spokesperson for District Prosecutor's Office in Warsaw, told TVNT24 on Monday that prosecutors had opened an investigation and it is to determine if there was a violation of the law which makes it crime to insult, destroy, or damage flags in other national members. The crime can be punished by up to a year in prison. Those who support the movement of women's rights argue that the lightning bolt doesn't amount to insulting the flag, noting that other symbols in the past have been included with the Polish flag without causing controversy. They worry that this attempt to instill fear in the protesters, though others said that they now expect to see more flags with the lightning bolt at future protests. The women's strike has organized mass nationwide anti-government protests after High Court ruled October 22 to ban abortions even when the fetus has congenital defects. The ruling would further tighten one of Europe's most restrictive abortion laws. 3 women in Poland have also been charged and face up to 2 years in jail for insulting religious beliefs after sharing posters of the Virgin Mary with a halo of the rainbow colors of the LGBT flag. That was protest against anti-LGBT language by authorities. Last month, Amnesty International said such activities should be protected by freedom of expression guarantees.
And for the international news, authorities know where the kidnapped Nigerian schoolboys are, says state government. The location of 337 students who were unaccounted for after gunmen attacked a school in northwestern Nigeria on Friday is now known by the government authorities, according to State Governor Aminu Bello Masari. Talks are ongoing to secure their release and their children are safe, he told CNN's Becky Anderson on Wednesday. Quote unquote, "We are not hearing any concrete demand, but we will make sure that the children are simply back home," he said. "All the areas have been secured, but the security forces here are not firing because we want to make sure that we don't get any collateral damage." Local police said a large number of attackers riding motorbikes ambushed the all-boy government science secondary school in Kankara, Katsina State last week. The attack may have been a kidnapping for a ransom attempt, they said. There have been varying estimates of the number of children kidnapped from the school. Government officials said it was difficult to accurately track the numbers as some children ran away during the attack and others escaped and made their way back to villages and to the school through the weekend. A man claiming to be a leader of Boko Haram said on Tuesday the terror group was responsible for the kidnapping, according to a short audio message shared with Nigerian media and reviewed by the CNN. Quote unquote, "I am Abubakar Shekau and our brothers are behind the kidnapping in Katsina," said a man in the recording. Shekau is the leader of one of Boko Haram's factions. Masari did not dismiss the voice, not entirely, but cautioned that more concrete evidence was needed before it could be confirmed that Boko Haram was involved. The kidnappers have not made a direct demand yet, but a child of a teenager who was among the contacted his father. He only complained about the Air Force flying overhead and mentioned they may need money. When asked if he would pay a ransom, Masari said it's not the policy of our government to do so, quote unquote. We will find our other ways of securing the lives of the freedom of the children, he added. The kidnapping is outside Boko Haram's usual area of activity. Their operations have generally focused in the northeast of the country. Through security analysts believe that the reach has shifted after security crackdown in that region. There have been multiple kidnappings for ransom in Katsina State in recent years, but not in this scale. Several witnesses told CNN that those who targeted the school were Fulani gunmen, an ethnic group that has been involved in kidnappings and criminal activities in the area. Chikao's faction of Boko Haram was behind the 2014 kidnapping of nearly 300 schoolgirls in Chibok. Their captivity lasted years and many of the children were never returned after a negotiated release. In 2018, a breakaway faction of Boko Haram known as ISWAP kidnapped more than 100 girls in Dapchi, all but was released weeks later after negotiations. While these are the main high-profile examples, Boko Haram has abducted well in excess of 1,000 children since 2013, according to the UNICEF. Quote unquote, we are now responsible and will up to our responsibility of ensuring and making sure that we do the best that we can to safeguard the lives of our people. And now, the priority is to make sure that these children are safely back into their families and back into school, Masari said. Amnesty condemned the attack on Wednesday and said it was a serious violation of international humanitarian law, which undermines the right to education for thousands of children in northern Nigeria.
Meanwhile, for the national news, NLEX's toll holiday in Valenzuela City ends Wednesday noon. Manila, Philippines, the toll holiday for the North Luzon Expressway or NLEX in Valenzuela City will end Wednesday at noon as Mayor Rex Gatchalian ordered the conditional lifting of the suspension order of the business permit of NLEX Corporation. In a coded code, toll holiday is ending at 12:01 p.m. December 16, 2020 as Mayor Rex Gatchalian orders conditional lifting of the suspension order on NLEX Corporation business permit. The local government unit or LGU announced it on Facebook post. In a coded code, the fees will be collected during these hours, the LGU also said. The barriers will be set in place from 10:01 p.m. to 4:59 a.m. in all RFID lanes for safety reasons. Both parties have agreed on the resettlement of cash lanes in strategic locations in toll plazas in the city, as well as on upgrading the RFID system and account management to address growing consumer complaints to be completed before January 30, 2021. The LGU and the company have likewise agreed to create a technical working group composed of key personnel from the city government and NLEX Corporation, who will continuously meet, innovate traffic and account management initiatives. The city government said these measures are among the points agreed upon the two parties during a meeting earlier in the day.
And for the national news, over 658,000 workers benefited from Comp Dole. Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE, Secretary Silvestro Bello III on Wednesday said 658,886,000 formal sector workers have benefited from the COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program or CAMP. Quote unquote, using regular funds, we were able to benefit 658,886 workers in the private sector with 3.3 billion in assistance using COMP. He said in a virtual press conference, under tulong panghanapbuhay sa ating disadvantaged and displaced workers or TUPAD, Bello said the government was able to provide temporary jobs to 423,511 informal sector workers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns, quote unquote. For informal sector workers, we have 423,511 beneficiaries worth 1.59 billion in emergency employment under TUPAD, he said. On the other hand, he said 315,000 displaced overseas Filipino workers or OFWs have benefited from abot kamay ang pagtulong AKA program, quote-unquote. We disbursed 3.5 billion in cash assistance to close to 315,000 OFWs who were displaced by the pandemic under AKA, Bello said. He also reported under Bayanihan 2 or Bayanihan 2 Recover as One, the DOLE will continue to provide cash assistance to the beneficiaries of the programs with an allocation of over 16 billion pesos, quote-unquote. To continue helping workers affected by the pandemic, we were allocated a seizable amount of 16.4 billion pesos for cash assistance, Bello said. Of the amount, he said, 4.1 billion will go to COMP with 300,000 or 300 million pesos as assistance to private educational workers, quote-unquote. We also have tourism sector workers. We were given 3.1 billion, and we have another allocation for Tupad informal sector workers, which is 6.2 billion. Under DOLE Integrated Livelihood Program or DILP, we allotted 230 million pesos, he said. He said 2 billion pesos will be for AKAP and additional 500 million peso for emergency repatriation programs of OFWs.
And for the local news, Buena Vista LGU prohibits long vigils for dead. Buena Vista Guimaras, the municipal government is prohibiting long vigils for the dead to reduce the risk of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 transmission. According to Mayor Eugenio Reyes, vigil must not exceed 15 days and the venue must only accommodate 20 people at the most. His executive order number 021 series of 2020 limiting vigils was in compliance to the level 2 response under the Guimaras COVID-19 response plan, according to Reyes. He previously issued executive order number 010 series of 2020 suspending the holding of events involving a large number, 20 or more of attendees. Guimaras is under modified general community quarantine. While Reyes acknowledged that during funeral wakes and vigils, relatives and neighbors gathers to show sympathy and compassion to the bereaved family. He also pointed out that such is considered as holding of events involving large number of attendees, mass gathering, hence requiring regulation. As of December 12, Buena Vista's COVID-19 cases reached 71 accumulated since March. The town has 6 active cases left after 65 recovery. So far, Buena Vista has no resident who died due to COVID-19.
And for the local news, Guimaras conducts rapid test as COVID-19 study commences. The province of Guimaras has started a conduct of a study to determine the prevalence and status of coronavirus disease or COVID-19 cases in the island. The study titled Status and Prevalence of COVID-19 Cases in Guimaras Province that commenced on December 14, 2020 primarily focuses on identifying the COVID-19 cases, particularly those who had developed antibodies to SARS or COVID-2. Governor Samuel Gumaren said the main goal of the study is to establish baseline data on COVID-19 pandemic and its prevalence in the province. It specifically aims to determine the health status of Guimaras, residents and non-resident commuters, as well as to determine the prevalence of COVID-19 through host antibody detection using rapid diagnosis test or RDT. The target population for the study are residents and non-resident commuters going in and out of Guimaras based on the frequency of their travel. Angel Ferrer, Economist 2, said determining the sampling population for the study is based on the Executive Order 70 issued by the Governor. The sampling size is 2,187, which concluded residents who undergo dialysis and chemotherapy, residents working outside the province, non-residents working in Guimaras, residents who travel for more than 10 times in a given month, residents who stay for more than 5 days outside Guimaras, and non-residents who intend to stay in the province for more than 2 weeks. This group of population will be adjusted or subjected to RDT at the RDT stations put up by the province of Jordan Wharf, Buena Vista Wharf, and Groro Wharf in Hoskin in the municipality of Hordan. Guimaras said the RDT is free for residents and non-residents alike. For outbound residents and residents who stayed outside the province for more than 5 days and will test positive for IgM, they will be subjected to RT-PCR test and will be brought to the quarantine facility. If the participant tested positive for the IgG only, he or she will undergo a rapid antigen test but will be released. Guimaras said the study will contribute in establishing a baseline data in COVID-19 prevalence and detect the past and present coronavirus infection. Moreover, individuals who develop IgG antibody to SARS-CoV-2 can be a potential door of convalescence plasma, which has been considered to treat COVID-19 patients. He said the result of the study can be basis to develop programs on the prevention, control, and management of COVID-19, as well as to strengthen the programs and services as response to the pandemic.
And for the sports news, Manila, Philippines Team Lakay, the top martial arts table in the Philippines, blasted the proposal of House Bill 1526, which bans minors from engaging in full contact competitive sports. The bill has been met with controversy since its proposal. In a coded code, firstly, I'd like to emphasize the martial arts and combat sports are not merely learning about fighting, said Team Lakay headmaster Mark Shangao. He said the physical growth that you'll reap from it's just part of the whole picture, and the most valuable part is developing attitude. We always say start them young and champions are made. In a coded code, our children need to develop character, and the best time is to instill this to them is at their formidable years. Let's not miss this opportunity to help our kids to be responsible individuals in the future by not restricting them to learn and to be involved in the combat sports at a young age. Shangao has produced several world champions in mixed martial arts, including one stringweight champion Joshua Pacho, who took up martial arts early. In a coded code, I started martial arts at an early age at 11 years old, and it changed my life. I think when you do martial art, it's not just about punching and kicking, it's about developing self-discipline and attitude, Paksho said.
And for the sports news, Kai Soto Ignite lose to GLeague vets in scrimmage. Ignite put in valiant effort in a 113-107 loss to veteran GLeague alums in a scrimmage Wednesday, an ultimate field house in Walnut Creek, California. Playing in its home court, Ignite hung tough behind Jonathan Cominga and Jalen Green, who combined for 48 points. Cominga scored a game-high 26 points on top of 8 rebounds, while the Phil American Green added 22 points on 8 of 15 shooting from the field that went with 7 rebounds. Quote unquote, overall, I was really happy with the effort and what I saw today, said Ignite head coach Brian Shaw as per the NBA G League website, especially in terms of physicality and intensity. Finally, we get to play, it's real now, said Green. It was just exciting to show how much better we got today. Green dazzled as he showed his athleticism with a pair of highlights finishes above the rim. Filipino center Kai Soto, whose defense drew Shaw's praise, contributed 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks for Ignite. The 7'2" Soto's lone basket was a wide-open dunk off a pass from Brandon's Ashley. The G League vets have 5 players in double-digit scoring, led by the long Parentis and DJ Hag, who both had 18 points.
And for the health news, universal healthcare, the best investment the Philippines will make. Today in Asia and Pacific, spending on health is growing faster than economies. On average, nearly 8% of GDP is devoted to health, with governments around the world making ambitious commitment to universal health coverage. How can they get the most from this investment? In the Philippines, around 55% of health spending is out of pocket, creating situations where families are pushed into poverty by paying for life-saving and health-preserving services. Not only is this a heartbreaking situation, it is bad for development. If people are forced to choose between paying for health and paying for education and basic necessities, their chances of becoming productive members of society are severely compromised. It is commendable that through the UHC Act, the Philippines has chosen to invest in improving access to health for those in need, so out-of-the-pocket spending will be lower. Still, work has to be done to ensure everyone across the country has access to the health services they need, where they need them, and why? Because we are not yet investing in the most efficient ways of providing care.
And for the health news, DOH DepEd to draft pilot face-to-face classes guidelines. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III on Wednesday said the Department of Health or DOH and the Department of Education or DepEd will develop guidelines for the pilot face-to-face classes in areas with low coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 risk in January 2021, quote-unquote. That is the agreement, and very quickly the proposed pilot implementation of face-to-face classes, which have been approved by the President Rodrigo Duterte, will necessitate the LGUs support the consent of parents, Duque said in an online media forum. On Tuesday, the DepEd welcomed the approval of President Rodrigo Duterte and his cabinet of the pilot face-to-face classes, as it will provide import experience and learning that would, from the final recommendation, the DepEd intends to make any broader resumption of face-to-face classes. The DepEd said the learners' participation in the pilot study will be voluntary with a requisite permit issued by the parents. It added that the face-to-face classes will not be held for the full week schedule, and the class size will be reduced to allow properly physical distancing among the learners.
And for the entertainment news, Richard Yap officially transfers to GMA. Everyone's favorite Sir Chief Richard Yap is now officially the newest Kapuso artist. The GMA Artist Center took to Twitter just earlier today, December 16, to tease the announcement of the actor's addition to its roster of talents. Although Yap's image was blurred in the announcement, fans were still able to figure out the identity of the actor as his features were still distinguishable. Further confirming the transfer, Yap actually tweeted thank you to one fan who replied to GMA's announcement saying, "Yes, Sir Chief in the house." Yap is most famously known for his role as Richard Sir Chief Lim, the leading man to Jody Santamaria's Maya de la Rosa in ABS-CBN's hit 2012 series Be Careful With My Heart. He is also well known for starring at the 2011 TV series My Binondo Girl. Alongside with Kim Chu, Yap last appeared in ABS-CBN Cadenang Ginto in 2018 alongside Dimples Romana and Beauty Gonzalez. Aside from acting, Yap also regularly posts blogging content via his YouTube channel simply called Richard Yap.
And for the entertainment news, Tom Cruise runs at Mission Impossible crew in London over COVID safety. Actor Tom Cruise is seen on the set of Mission Impossible No. 7 while filming in Rome, Italy, October 13, 2020. Tom Cruise let rip over an apparent breach of COVID-19 safety protocols on the London set of the new Mission Impossible movie, telling crew members they would be fired if they don't obey the rules, Britain's Sun newspaper reported on Tuesday. In expletive-filled remarks captured on audio tape obtained by The Sun, the star and producer of the action film yelled at the crew about lapses of social distancing and other rules that allow movies to be made during the coronavirus pandemic. A source close to the production said the tape was authentic. Crew's representative declined to comment, quote-unquote, "I am on the phone with every studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies," Cruise told the crew on the set. "Do you understand the responsibility that you have? Because I will deal with your reason. And if you can't be reasonable and I can't deal with your logic, you are fired," he added, according to the tape. The Sun did not say when the incident took place, but the filmmakers arrived in London in early December. The seventh Mission Impossible was one of the first movies to shut down production because of the coronavirus when it's abandoned filming in Venice, Italy in February. Production resumed in September with filming in Italy, Norway, and London. Cruise in July personally appealed to Norway Prime Minister to school to shoot parts of the film in Norway under modified quarantine rules. The Paramount Pictures film is scheduled to be released in November 2021. Crews told the crew Hollywood was relying on movies like Mission Impossible to keep the belly-gird industry going, quote-unquote. We want the gold standard. They're back. They're in Hollywood making movies right now because of us, because they believe in us and what we're doing, he said according to the audio tape. Quote-unquote. Mission Impossible is one of the biggest franchises in Hollywood, with 2018 Mission Impossible Fallout taking more than $791 million at the worldwide box office. And for our weather news, today is Thursday, December 17, 2020. Philippines will experience 26 degrees Celsius. The sun rises at 6:14 a.m. and sets at 5:30 p.m. At 3 a.m. today, a low pressure area or LPA was estimated based on all available data heading 820 kilometers east of Davao City. Northeast monsoon affecting Luzon. And that's the latest and the hottest news for this hour. I am Lloyd Pilata.
And I am Angel Fonelio reporting MK Education Live.
Today is 8 days before Christmas. Good morning, everyone. Ito pala tuloy. Namakadlaw.